Alrighty, who is ready for some Tuesday night lights? We've got Grand Valley State University taking on Florida International as our first show match of the evening. First solo cast for me in a while on Tuesday Night Lights. I've been traveling like crazy the last week, or I guess not traveling like crazy, but I've been working like crazy the last week. So this slate was spillover from my canceled Tuesday Night Lights last week into this Tuesday. So for those that don't know, I was at MegaCon, which is a big media convention in Orlando, which for how big it was, I was surprised I'd never heard of it before, because we had like 160,000 attendees or something like that. It was wild. But we're back to the Tuesday Night Lights slate that we should have had last Tuesday that I had to cancel because I was traveling. So minus UT Dallas, who I'll get you guys on in the future, don't you worry. But GVSU versus FIU should be a solid matchup. I've seen FIU, and they haven't had the greatest start to their season. Give me just a second. I'm trying to sort out where my overlay went. As the teams are ready. So let's get into some Rocket League, so that way I can sort out why the overlay looks like it does, while you actually have some action on your screen. This is GVSU's debut on my stream. So they're 0-0 all time on a Nightlight show match, and FIU a simple 1-0. But GVSU early on, looking high flying. I don't mind that kind of start out of Grand Valley State. I believe they played on my stream in a CRL Open. I forget who they did play, but they looked solid, and let me already showing off some mechs, a pinch down field, a flip reset ceiling play, and if that's the kind of Rocket League we are in for tonight, then sign me up for it. But let me sort out where my overlay is real fast, and we will CCS overlay. Maybe we'll just go back to this one. Yeah, all right. Why not? Let's go back to the old Friday Night Lights overlay. I'm remembering why I stopped using this, because Nightlight show match is so cut off. There we go. TNL 4. GVSU are demons for real? Yeah, they look it right now. Relic actually reached out to me looking for this show match. I always love pointing out teams that reach out to me to play show matches, because it shows that they are fine playing for no money because they know they're going to get a good matchup and they know that that's good experience. Like, there's nothing really on the line here. A lot of power ranking analysts don't rate my show matches very highly, and so like, you don't get many power ranking points out of this unless you're in my ranking, in which case I do value these show matches, because I think if you can beat a team in a best of 7, no matter if it's a show match for fun where there's money on the line or not, you still deserve to be in the conversation of teams that are at your opponent's skill level. You know what I mean? Like, if JMU beats Shawnee State later in this show, I think JMU deserve to be in the conversation for teams in the top 25 at least. I rate it. I rate it. Maybe not as much as a CRL Open, but this still matters to me. And GVSU reached out to me about it. I casted Relic as a high schooler as well, which I think is very cool and makes me feel a little old. That's I know I've been doing this long enough to where me casting high schoolers and those same high schoolers at their collegiate level, it shouldn't be too crazy, but it still is a little weird. Either way, it was GVSU early on here in Game 1, but Gold International a bit back, just a little bit. Posture check being redeemed in chat. All right, I'll sit up a little bit. I was slouching. I'll even toss in a free hydrate right there because I am thirsty. But no goals in the first 3 minutes of Game 1, and Relic will change that. Thank you very much. Nice play out of Alpha here in the corner. Relic set him up with just a simple clear, and Zernite elected to play the near side post instead of playing the ball. I think anticipating that there was a GVSU player right there. I mean, probably seeing Relic move upfield with that clear, or Alpha with He probably didn't know he had little boost, but Alpha was also in the area. So Sir Knight plays off the ball, tried to buy time, ended up being stagnant there on the goal line. And FIU have to fight from behind after they had a couple of chances to score first here in Game 1. But they do find themselves a goal not too shortly after GVSU take their lead. So we are tied up once again. I would love to get my regular overlay. I'm just not vibing with this one like I used to be. It's not... I don't know why. That one's not great. Okay, there we go. That's better. That is the normal overlay. I need to up my overlay game. I upped the graphics game this season of the Nightlight show matches, but I need to up the overlay game. I know there's some better ones in the Carl lineup. Still, it's Game 1. An interesting showcase of both of these teams. GVSU looking very good mechanically early on have now fallen into that in the midfield where all three cars are around the ball and they just end up giving FIU kind of a free open net. Not a good goal concession with 75 seconds left, especially when Relic is being tested right off kickoff. So Lumi and Alpha combined for an out. And that is what the doctor ordered for GVSU. Kaizen, though, his boost has space. Will dribble over Relic. It had Zernite as a potential passing option, but Zernite either bailed out or Kaizen called him off of it. Either way, it looked intentional. Didn't pan out. Kaizen did beat 2/3 of the GVSU defense, and that has set FIU up well here. It's a center ball that Relic misses on. Zernite wasn't expecting the whiff, so FIU won't get themselves a third, but this is looking dangerous right now for GVSU. They seemed in control at the start of this Game 1, but then slowly that control has slipped, and GVSU had opportunities to get back here. But FIU look in control. Once they gain possession, they seize control of it for a little while, and that's a third. Game 1, I believe, will be the Panthers, but it's sloppy on both sides. I mean, that might have also been a Zernite bailout just because he knew that his teammate had a better lane or shot on the ball. But strange Game 1. We'll talk about Game 2 here in a bit. I guess you still had time there. Out on the sideline, they double commit. Can't get the ball center and end up giving a fourth. So I'm going to take this time while we watch, well, we could skip the replay, but while we watch the final kickoff to make sure my notes are good to go. Because the state of the SCL, as always, ran long. So I did not have my notes prepared. Still, a decent Game 1, I think, in terms of competitiveness. GVSU was still right there with Florida International, but had too many sloppy moments that game, and 14 shots to 3 does kind of paint a bad picture for Grand Valley State. Let me jot it down. GVSU is taking a second to ready up, so I want to show off something that I don't do enough because I always forget I have this graphic ready. But there we go. Look at those. Look at those nameplates right there. Clean. One Nightlight show match series played between these two all time. And FIU, they're an SCL team. It's the reason they were on in the fall, but they didn't end up coming on very much in the fall. Glad to get them back, even though they aren't playing in the SCL. Schedule conflicts, unfortunately. We tried to get them in. I know they wanted to play, but didn't work out. So we'll do the best we can to get them on Tuesday Night Lights. They won Game 1. Let's see if they can keep it going here in Game 2. And what are you talking about, Sarah? I make the rules? Ooh, okay. Hold on. I was reading chat. Relic, I didn't know you were going to score 8 seconds in here. 100 boost to work with, a play off the ceiling, and a whole lot of pain inflicted upon the Florida International defense. What a beginning. And if GVSU were coming to play like that this entire game, then this series should be tied up. But FIU are playmakers themselves, and Zernite found no grab for a shot. Tried to secure the finishing touch, Zernite did, but is now up ahead playing Bulldozer. Changed his car body for the second. Still no goal for the Panthers, but they want to recover quickly after conceding that early one to Relic. Okay, I was reading Twitch chat again. And we're getting our second goal between these two teams. Just a simple center ball. Kaizen flexes some speed, and Lumi got zoned off the goal line right there with some no-grab action on the goal line. Nicely done. FIU find themselves a quick answer. I am going to keep reading chat because I'm slowly falling behind. I'll read chat for a moment and then get called back to action as someone scores a goal. Oh, that's what my chat thing says, Sarah? That's funny. I made that probably about 4 years ago. Like, pretty accurately 4 years ago. I started Twitch streaming in March of 2021. So I completely forgot what that said. Thank you for reminding me. Payne, it's good to see you. I can't believe you just joined the lobby here for a second when Relic scored that opening goal. That was nicely timed. But I'm reading chat and no one's scoring. So maybe we were misinformed here. Relic tried to get us back on the scoreboard, but no luck here. Say Sombers in chat. Can't wait to see you here for JMU SSU. It's going to be a hype primetime series on Tuesday Night Lights. You know we don't disappoint when it comes to those primetime matches. JMU said they wanted a hard series. I wanted to give them an opportunity to showcase themselves as a potential top 30 team, especially with the Colleague 48 rankings coming out here this week. Ooh, okay. Well, I'm going to lock back in for the final 3 minutes because GVSU have taken themselves a lead, and that's nice out of Lumi. It's one thing to show that kind of speed and beat Kaizen in the midfield to the touch, but to put the ball then at a high crest of the backboard and then finish the play off, it's a whole other. That's great frontman work out of Lumi right there. The captain, I believe, of this GVSU roster. I was told they were the point of contact, so I'm figuring they are the captain, even though it was Relic that reached out to me to get them on this Showmatch series. I saved Kaizen. I was holding my breath right there. GVSU, even though they dropped game one and blowout fashion at the end, they're showing that they do belong in the conversation with FIU right now. Holding a 1-goal lead, still halftime, so a lot can happen in the back half of this game, but still, they're showing that they can keep pace with FIU, which I think we still saw in game one, but the scoreboard did not reflect it after all was said and done. In the opening get-go of our best of 7, I somehow messed up putting you in back-to-back primetime slots, Somber. Nah, I did not mess up. Pure intentional. Pure intentional. Doesn't make sense. I'm sure all of you watching, if you do stick around tonight, will notice that I am exhausted. That MegaCon trip took it out of me. Like, the days weren't even long. There were just so many people at that convention. And I was hosting the main stage of the Samsung booth, so I wasn't casting. So that was a bit more stress on my plate, doing MC work instead of casting a video game. And man, lots of people. It was noisy. That was just draining. So I'm gonna do my best to stay entertaining here. But GVSU are helping me along quite nicely. 3 goals in game 2, and they might 4-1 FIU right back after that's what Florida International did to them in game 1. 75 seconds left. We'll see if FIU have any go at the comeback, but this is a much better look for Grand Valley State. They're executing at a higher level in the offensive zone. That really feels like the biggest difference. I mean, there were sloppy moments of defense too in game 1, I suppose, but they are finding a way to limit those on both ends of the field. I think in offense, they had a couple chances, but they weren't converting on them at this sort of rate. They weren't hitting the open backboard moments. They weren't even finding those open backboard moments, really. They weren't clearing the ball into good spots. But game 2, a whole lot better. That's why we play best of 7s here. That's why I prefer that as a format for high-level teams. And Relic almost just stole a 4th goal. That was nice. Double coming out of FIU, and GVSU still had a defender stop them. So good defense out of FIU. They were able to recover with 2 on the goal line right there. Geisen put it in, put some extra speed on that shot. And GVSU are going to 4-1. Florida International, right back. After that was the scoreline in game 1. Unless you see something else, and it would be like a collegiate match to take away my nice little pattern. I love it when series have patterns like that. And Kaizen will take away my little pattern, which is sad. I'm starting to regret inviting FIU now. That was a nice shot. Relic was at home on the goal line. Kaizen got the ball underneath him. And it's 4-2, but I think this game is still over. Kaizen's going backwards with this ball. We'll center it. Could still be a 3-goal margin. No grab. Has made a meal of that catch on the backboard, but still will find a way to almost get the ball to the ground. And we're just going to keep playing a little victory lap here. A little bit longer in game 2, but GVSU did net themselves the win. Solid. Solid recovery after game 1. And oh, look, lucky me. I get a Hatsune Miku banner. Sweet. I don't know why it's giving me my rewards now. I'm in a series game. Let's go back to the stats page. 9 shots to 7. Definitely a lot better for GVSU. So, game 3 coming up. And now the ball is in FIU's court to somehow stop Lumi, who had a hat trick, 3 saves, almost 850 points. Not too shabby at all. Not too shabby. I did not equip it. I've had the same champ banner equipped like the last 5 years, and I'm not changing it for Hatsune Miku. Even though at MegaCon, there was a cosplayer that was Hatsune Miku, and I had to resist the urge to reference that she is now in Rocket League, because I knew no one there would really get it. I didn't want to just be the Rocket League guy, but I saw her and I was like, I don't know who that is outside of Rocket League, by the way, so I was like, oh, it's the new Rocket League goal explosion. Woo! Close shave for FIU, a pair of close shaves. A couple of shots narrowly saved or narrowly off target. Alpha still trying to get the ball center. This is a good possession of GVSU, even with the close opportunities missed, because FIU are not going to have any kind of resources to get that ball away. Especially with Grand Valley State securing the midfield line very well. Like right there, Lumi, instead of taking the immediate shot, popping that up, it was a bit too heavy at first touch, but like, I think it's that kind of play. I like the decision making. Always be that Rocket League guy. That's fair. That's fair. I just, it wouldn't have added anything to it. But in my mind, I was like, she's in Rocket League. And that's all I know about her. That's how I felt the whole weekend with most of those cosplays. That's beside the point. We can have MrBepic chat at the time if we get a blowout game. I found that my solo casting has evolved over the years, which is partly because of all of you watching. I get better viewership now than I used to when I was solo casting, and so I'm able to chat more with Twitch chat. But I really do love just talking and chatting, making these solo casts like a podcast, then locking in when it gets close. But thank you all for tuning in. I think that's what I'm saying right now. Ooh, Relic. That's a bad whiff. If that ball was on target, FIU scores. But no ifs, ands, or buts here. It wasn't on target. I don't like seeing Relic missing those in defense, though. I like the guy. I want him to find success. And apparently Relic's got some some fans in Twitch chat as well. Love to see that. I do love seeing guys finding success at the high school level. I forget where Relic did go to school, though, at the high school level. But I do love the pipeline that really is developing high school to collegiate. Because high school never got any recognition, really, before the last couple of years. So now we're finally starting to get players that go from high school to collegiate. And they are kind of in the conversation from the get-go instead of just being good at collegiate and, oh, they had a good high school career as well. Oh, Relic reached out just so his fans could watch? I believe it. That's what I want. I want this to be a platform for anybody to play. And I know there are people that take advantage of that. Davenport fans are a good example. Godira's fans, I know they'll be out in force for JMU, but FIU, if they've got any fans in chat, now's your time to get loud. That's a great setup. No grab. Put that ball on a pedestal for Zernite to reach out and grab. Beautiful dime. Because it beats the defense. It's not too high where the read's more difficult. Zernite can just sit there and put the one-timer in the exposed net, but it's still a difficult touch to read for the GVSU net. Now No Grab has to work on defense. A little bit of taste of his own medicine with that touch from Relic. I love the energy of this show match. A lot of hard, unexpected touches. Out of the midfield, off the ceiling. It's fun to watch. The defenses have to stay on their toes here. And that's the kind of series that I like watching. I love series where the defense on both sides of the field has to work the most out of both sides. Like, the offense is getting creative. They're really flexing their might on the field. The defenses are still finding ways to get the job done. I love a defensive game of Rocket League, and this is absolutely one. The game one was too. We didn't have many goals for a while there until FIU just went on a tear. Game two, GVSU they spread out their goal scores pretty well in game two. But here it's a 1-0 game in the final minute. Relic can't change that, but Zernite find it clear. It's only as far as Alpha though. Alpha has plenty of boost to find Relic across the pitch. That shot's bottom right. It's stopped there by Kaizen. Close to going in again. GVS has been close a couple of times, but that's been it. In defense, they have now made a critical error. Double committing with 20 seconds left. And with Alpha descending with no boost, he is not getting back to that ball. That's huge. Florida International should take game 3 now, unless GVSU pitch a mighty comeback. So nicely done. FIU, if you can close it out. 15 seconds left. He's got to 50 the ball a couple of times. That's all it takes. And Kaizen will do that and more. It's a 50-plus a sidewall double to push GVSU back. And Kaizen will get one more for the road. What is up with Florida International and padding the stats when they've got the game all sewn up? Like, this is a 1-0 game going into the final 30 seconds. And FIU at the end of it is making the sheet look like they blew GVSU out. This is crazy. I find a fourth. The ball is being kept up. I respect that. I do enjoy that aspect of show matches as well. Although in a game like this, the game is over. I know both teams are typically going to keep the ball up. That's why I love Collegiate. These are just fun people. But 3-0. Pretty solid finish for FIU. They went back to the double-digit shot versus low GVSU output type of game, where their offense played a lot more than GVSU did. But GVSU still had good looks that game, and it's not like it was a complete FIU stomping, even though it was a 3-0. GVSU had maybe 3 for sure, shots that were just off, where FIU made a great save, and then more GVSU offense flowed in after that great save was made. And that, I think, is a recipe for some success for GVSU. But they have to do it again in Game 3, and they have to execute like they did in Game 2. We'll see if they can. I'm sure they can. But FIU could step things up a notch. He has demoed Kaizen. It's going to inhibit FIU's ability to step things up said notch. But I want to check real fast. This is something I would have done if State of the SCL hadn't gone long. But Relic is going to pull me right back into the game. Once again, he's got himself an open goal. And it's brought to him thanks to Alpha faking that ball. I have no idea if that was intentional or not, but that fake threw FIU off enough to give Relic the open lane. So that is great awareness by Relic. Ready for that ball to be laid into their lap again. That'll be the opening goal. Give me a second, though. I want to pull up Florida International's non-conference matches in the CCS, because I think it's relevant. They haven't had a great start. They beat Rutgers 3-1, but then lost to James Madison 0-3, which I think is a fair loss, because FIU and JMU were at even standing in the fall. But with JMU picking up Pigeon, that's not the case anymore. But a 3-1 loss to George Mason, that is not great, because GMU have also had a shaky start to the season this spring. And so FIU, I think this series is important for them. To beat a team like GVSU in a best-of-7 is to show that you can get those big wins. Because I'm not calling Rutgers a big win just yet. But losing to GMU, Akron Gold, and JMU is a rough start to your non-conference play. Because FIU is a team that I think has a chip on their shoulder, or should have a chip on their shoulder. The way some analysts have been talking about them. And I mean, they've just been ranked their lowest top 25 ranking in CCS since they joined the league. That's what Zernite was saying. 21st in the top 25. But GVSU in a spot of control in Game 4. I don't think they're in control in this series. Obviously, they're down a game. But even with a 1-goal lead, I don't think they've found more control than FIU's got. A second would do them a lot of good, though. And when I say a lot of good, I don't mean like a second one would be good for them, because that's obvious. But I mean, I think right now a second goal here would weigh more than a second goal in a regular series, in your average Rocket League series. Because GVSU have found themselves on the wrong side of FIU control throughout this series. I think the field domination, if I had those numbers, would be slightly on the side of FIU. The shot tally definitely is, as FIU have outshot, in the games that they've won, GVSU, 14-3 and 10-5. And then the game that GVSU won was 9-7. So FIU's definitely put the higher quantity of opportunities on target. I think GVSU has looked the shakier of the two, in defense especially. And so, to find yourself a nice cushion in a game where you need to tie up the series, that would do them a world of good. If that makes sense. It's my stream, so I can waffle how I want. With 90 seconds left, I'll stop waffling a bit. Really focus on the conclusion here, because this next goal is very important for how this series can shake out. With 80 seconds left, Lumi's got a bit of space. Times the dissension to the ground nicely. And if they had a teammate moving up with them, that could have been a second goal. And FIU, to their credit, did interrupt. After they've been beaten there in the midfield by Lumi, they did just really stop that play in its tracks. That's good solo last man defense, which is something that they have really excelled at in this best of 7. They look solid all around right now. I don't think their offense is blow you out of the water crazy at the moment, but them playing like this right now really does make me wonder how they lost to George Mason. I have to ask Zernite about that, or whoever does enter the booth. Normally it's Zernite, it's the spokesperson for this team, but we are doing winning team interviews on Tuesday Night Lights this season. It's been one of my favorite additions. Got some good conversations. Have some good ones today. But FIU have to win to join me in the booth after this series. GVSU are looking in a good position right now to tie this set up, because Nograb has no boost, just to bang that bang that ball downfield, rather. And Zernite doesn't have a whole lot of boost or momentum towards the net, so FIU have to really work from a position with nothing towards a 0-second goal. And they can't. So Grand Valley State tie us up in a 1-0 affair. Look at those numbers. FIU, worst shooting game of the series. Worst possession game as well. Again, I don't have the numbers on me. My CPU's been having issues lately, so I can't have Carl open to give me all the stats that I normally enjoy having. But GVSU, I'm fairly certain, had the bulk of possession that game. And FIU, they look stunted. Didn't look scary in offense like they have previously. And in defense, I mean, they played well, but it didn't translate to offense. So here we go, game 5 between FIU and GVSU. Let's see if the Panthers can up the ante once again. They'll let Grand Valley State get close, let them tie up the series, but no promises after that, as they have always won the recovery game to get back in the set. This is a heater of a series. Got a prediction? Whoever wins this gets the series. I don't know if I agree. I think this goes game 7. I think both sides have been inconsistent enough to where when the series is on the line, the team with more to lose will step up to take it. I think we go to game 7. Not saying that because I just want a game 7, but I really do think that's the way this series has gone. Very back and forth, very adjustment heavy, like, oh, let's improve on this, but then it comes back to bite you and end up losing the next game. I don't know. It doesn't have a set complexion, this series so far. Feels like a game 7 type of beat. Plus, it's Tuesday Night Lights, and the opening series and the closing series just typically go to game 7. Those are my feelings. I don't have real concrete evidence to back that up. So I'll call myself out as an analyst. But 90 seconds in, no goals. And that's how these games have gone. Going into the second half, it's always been a low-scoring affair. So if someone can change that in the early goings of a game, I really do think they will be in a phenomenal position to win that same game. And that's why I thought that second goal for GVSU would mean so much. Because a lot of the scoring has come in the back half, except for game 1, half 1. Either way, 3 minutes to go now, and Zernite has beaten Relic. These reads have been difficult for Grand Valley State, but Alpha does well right there. Now again, put in a tough spot and misses that read. Lumi makes contact, but the ball is sent right at no grab. The Relic with that was allowed a bit extra time to figure out where the shot was going and react to it. Double commit right there for GVS, who's going to make things awkward. FIU are controlling possession nicely, and this is why I think it's going to be a game 7. Because we keep going back and forth. FIU, after they lose a game, will come out, dominate the possession game again, put a lot of shots on. GVSU won't be able to stop the shots for the most part. And then after FIU win that game, they come back and it's a completely different looking Panthers team. That's just been the pattern so far. FIU content farmers, hey, maybe. They might be the ones having to force game 7 though, as Lumi has again taken a ball coast to coast, but this is just a simple beat. Zernite is in position to make a play on that ball. He just misreads it. And now if FIU's looking shaky defensively, I don't know what's going to happen. But that is a miss that can be made up for. I think Zernite will. And he will by passing over to Kaizen. 1-1 with 2 minutes left. And it's so simple. Alpha, I'm guessing, didn't know that Kaizen was there, because he didn't have a great angle on the ball. I would love to watch that from his perspective, but was unable to cut the passing lane off. And it looked like in the replay when we cut over to Alpha's perspective that Kaizen had just come into the frame. But I don't know. We'll have to watch it on replay. That's a nice center ball, but no graph's ready for it. I'm impressed that he had his car in that direction already. Ready to go up with it. Seconds to go now. FIU found a way back after conceding. And I know Zernite's mental is solid. Gotten to meet the guy at LAN. Really chipper dude. He's used to making runs in RLCS as well. He's one of those collegiate players. Look at no grab right there. Buying space for his team. No boost, but still had the most important role right there as the first man. And it sets up now possession. And if FIU had scored right there, I would have credited No Grav for really setting them up. But now they gotta try again. Although No Grav has put that ball in a position to be scored. Kaizen couldn't slot it though because the defense did recover, but now No Grav interfering again with GVSU's plans on no boost. We are still tied with 40 seconds to go. Another boost for you, Kaizen. I will have plenty in the tank, however. Contests Alpha there in the corner. No Grav does, but they all lose to Alpha. Just 1v3 for a clear down the pitch. Puts the ball middle, but Zernite had to rotate it back. It's not a 1v3 that scores for you, but it's a 1v3 that gives GVSU some looks here in the final 15 seconds. Lumi will go high with the ball, but Zernite's there to field it. 10 seconds to go. It's a half clear for Zernite. It was too awkward to field it, and Alpha had the better angle on it anyway. And now No Grav's in an awkward spot. Again, low on boost, but finds Zernite over in the FIU corner. The ball will hang up on 0 seconds. Does anything interesting happen? No, not really. 1-1 OT, our first of the series. And Relic wants to end it now, but Kaizen did track back off kickoff, and now ended himself. Go off the ceiling. Flip into a shot on target, but Lumi will save that 10 times out of 10. We will have ourselves a bona fide back and forth OT. No kickoff goals, no scores before the defenses are set. If you lose this, it's on you. Zernite. Back pass. Hello, No Grav. That was a jump scare and a half. Works out, though. Well, I wouldn't say it worked out, but I will say it didn't cost FIU. Might now, though. No Gravs. All alone against everybody on GVSU. But he buys enough time for his teammate to get back, and Kaizen helps out, finding the ultimate save at the end of that play. And we will keep on going. Winner of this gets match point. I honestly don't know who I favor right now. Relic will answer that question for me, though. Big overtime winner in Game 5 will send GVSU to match point. And Alpha was harassing Kaizen. I don't know if Kaizen will be in position for that if Alpha isn't making his life miserable on the FIU goal line. But still, it's that off-ball movement that sets Relic up for a score. The challenge is beautiful, but GVSU, what a win. We're challenged there at the end by FIU coming back and forcing OT. But still, weathered the storm of Game 5. And now FIU is in danger of losing their undefeated status in a Night Lights series. GVSU in control of this best of 7. And I critique them for not having the majority of the control in the early goings of this best of 7. But they have found a way back. And they have found ways to win despite that. And they've been close games. GVSU have won 2 out of their 3 games in 1-goal nail-biters. But hey, if you can win 1-goal games, you're probably a good team. It's a nice skill to have in your back pocket. But I am looking at FIU to force Game 7 here. See if they can't go 2-0 on my stream all time. And it came to me, while I was talking just then, who their one win was against. And that was Mount Aloysius. They played them, I believe, in the fall. And in Game 6, it was Zekers that hit one of the greatest shots of all time on my stream. It was a midfield musty into 5-degree angle double tap off the back wall. And you'll see it if we have time in the break for me to play my Tuesday Night Lights trailer. But FIU have been on the wrong side of Game 7 appearances before, at least in the games leading up to it. But now they have to be on the right side of forcing Game 7, and that's a good start. Minute in, FIU has found first blood. And oh, we got a high school mates of Zernites. Right on. I haven't read Twitch chat in a while. I'm catching up right now. Oh, and you forgot some of your teachings? Oh, dear. Well, I love it. I love the connection. Was there not a Rocket League player in high school? I'm curious about that. That's another one of those high school to collegiate pipeline players. I do love those stories. Op-Bomb's one of the big ones this season. He's been on my stream a couple of times. I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head right now. Relic, obviously. We already talked about him, though. But the spotlight is not on Relic at the moment. Hit the OT winner in Game 5, but FIU seemed dead set on forcing Game 7 in Match 1 of Tuesday Night Lights 4. Ah, he was the second best player on the high school team. Alright, Hyperion. I believe you. I'll take your word for it. Whoa, Zernite! Whoa! He almost own goaled that. And GVSU had a great chance to clean up. But they get tangled up and have just conceded an open net. No way! Oh, GVSU. They just botched that right there. And that's the kind of 2-goal swing that can cost you games. Because 2-1 is a whole lot better looking than 3-0. And that is a rough one. Game 7's looking imminent, but I didn't want to get there on that sort of play. And GVSU, I'm sure they won't hang their heads. It's a rough look, but these guys are seasoned competitors. And Lumi's got the ball. This could be scary, actually. Relic runs ahead. Was interfering with no grabs pathing right there, but not enough. Cernite, what is that? Oh, man. The stuff players these days can do is crazy. Speaking of, Lumi almost hit that. That tight angle double, crossbar level. And no Champions Field for Game 7. I stick on the same map for all my series, and Champions Field is reserved for my primetime match. Want to give it that primetime feel, you know? And James Madison versus Shawnee State is absolutely deserving of a full Champions Field series. That is a primetime match if I've ever seen one. The SSL lobby, indeed. And that's why I love Collegiate, because you get stuff like that. Woo! No grabs feeling it right now. That's a Hattie in Game 6. And FIU are not interested in this series ending before Game 7. I'm going to start skipping replays now, so that way we have time for a winner's interview in between our first series of the night and our prime time slot. With 80 seconds left, FIU have Game 6 all kinds of wrapped up. GVSU, I think anything they get in the final 75 is icing on the cake. That was a really good play until the final 1%. Again, GVSU are so close to scoring here. They probably should have about 3 goals this game. They just can't get the ball in the back of the net. There's some kind of ball magnet on the posts right now for GVSU. Hey, Lumi, we'll get one to go. And don't worry, Payne. I will postpone the second series of the night, probably by 5 minutes. just so I have enough time to reset everything and we can still get a winner's interview in. So don't worry about that. Ooh, this could be goal 2. But Lumi couldn't recover from demo in time to get back to the ball. So 30 seconds left. GVSU have put out good-looking chances in Game 6. But FIU have either gotten a bit fortunate with GVSU missing those chances, or GVSU have just run into a brick wall of a Panthers goal line. It's 50-50. Well, 15 seconds to go. Allow me to let my primetime captains know that this next series is getting delayed because, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to Game 7. Because, of course, we are. It's my welcome back to Tuesday Night Lights. I took a week off. But we are going the distance with Florida International and GVSU. Nograv had himself a heater of a Game 6 right there. 3 goals on 4 shots. And Zernite assisted. I don't know if it was all 3 of those, but at least 2 of those. Probably. I think that math checks out. But the players readied up almost immediately. Actually, 2 immediately. We got someone still outside of the lobby. But we're into it now. Captains are aware we're getting delayed because FIU and GVSU have brought us to a 7th game decider. Winner stays undefeated on Tuesday Night Lights, and the loser is subjected to a 1 in the loss column. And for FIU, it would be another matchup against the top team if they were on the wrong side of this season. Lost to George Mason, James Madison, and Akron Gold. And JMU and Akron, those are quality losses. But FIU still is 1-3 in the CCS. I haven't seen the results elsewhere, but GVSU I would put in the same category as your FIUs. Obviously, they're in Game 7 right now. As your JMUs, as your George Masons. Teams that can make tournament runs, no matter where they're playing. And FIU need to be able to beat those teams this season if they want to have themselves some fun in the spring semester. And this is a good start. Zernite, down the sideline, has found himself an opener. Kaizen demoed the first. Zernite finished the play off. And elsewhere, I think Kaizen also got another demo upfield. Either way, there were 2 of them. And the Panthers strike first. Still Relic has a chance to strike again. Wanted a redirect there off the sidewall. It's denied by FIU. And Kaizen had an open net. Or sorry, Zernite had the open net. It went off the post, and then Kaizen, I think, had this ball put back onto his Fennec. I couldn't tell right there. Either way, it's an insane second goal for FIU, and GVSU have themselves a deep hole to fight from. 90 seconds in. There is a lot of time to fight from that hole, but you gotta start digging your way up soon. That kind of play isn't gonna cut it. Relic just centers that for FIU to break away. Tee up Kaizen for a solo effort. And Alpha is there for the initial stop, but GVSU need to start executing at a higher level offensively. That, I think, is the biggest difference for them between Game 5 and then Game 6 and 7. Here we go. Relic's off the ceiling now. Double tap is just off. And that's the story for GVSU throughout this set. Just off target. So close to greatness. Lumi will step up, though, and at least clap back just a little bit. It's a nice win out of the corner for Alpha. Zernite was caught out with nothing in the tank. And Lumi was there for the finish. That's good speed. Florida International still have a 1-goal lead. And off kickoff, they're looking to add to it, but Lumi won't allow them to just yet. Tries to Zern out of the backboard. Kind of elected to bail out right there, and decision making as he's rewarded with a somewhat open net. There was a defender in his face with a shot that if he's able to get a chunk less of it. It's a 3rd goal for FIU, and again, an insurance policy purchased for the Panthers. Instead, it's goal line action for FIU, and goal line action that's quickly turned into an open net for No Grav. I think we're watching reruns from Game 6. I'm pretty sure we saw a play exactly like this, where Relic had no boost, and No Grav just barreling down on him. That's 2 minutes left, and a 2-goal lead for FIU. Risen's nearly made it a 3rd, but Alpha does get in the way again. No Grav fakes it, and again, GVSU was short-handed on their defensive line. That certainly has been the part of the game they have looked the worst at, is being caught out with one player low on boost. And they've managed well. They've got offensive firepower, obviously, to be a good team, but just have moments defensively where they are not home. And FIU is allowed to break in. No alarms, no bolts to pick through. Just seems easy. Goals given away. GVSU are playing Rocket League on hard mode here against FIU. And center ball for Zernite. Sorry, for Kaizen. Given to Kaizen by Zernite. Might put Game 7 out of reach. It's a good beat, and again, GVSU is short-handed on their goal line. Florida International are in full control of a Game 7 that they had to force. They were down 3-2 in this set. But they scored 5 goals in Game 6. They've made it 9 total with their performance in Game 7. And that is the same amount of goals that they scored in the first 5 games. No, sorry, I'm one off. They scored 10 goals in the first 5 games, and they've scored 9 in the last 2. Florida International, what a run for them. I'm already going to go ahead and tag Zernite, see if he wants to hop in for a quick interview. Because Florida International looked the part of a top team tonight, battled back from behind, and are the winners. The first show match of Tuesday Night Lights 4. But how about that for a late game run out of Florida International? And I don't want to promise anything in the way of interviews. I do need an answer quickly. So we'll see if they end up reading the chats, but I wasn't able to get that message out in time before FIU left. But we'll see if he responds to the ping. We'll give him a minute or so to hop in. In the meantime, though, I'm going to throw it to a break screen. Get as many things set up for James Madison versus Shawnee State as I can. But that will be a delayed start, probably 5 minutes after the top of the hour. So even if you were just tuning in for FIU versus GVSU, stick around. This next series is worthy of a primetime spot. Don't go too far. I'll be right back, all right? I'll see you there. Alrighty, I lied to you. We're not taking a break. Alright, Kaizen's going to do the interview. Kaizen will do the interview. So he's popping in with me here in a second. And we'll get Kai in here. Alright, should be in the production VC with me. Kaizen, are you there? Can you hear me? How you feeling?
I'm feeling awesome, Bepic. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Hey, you guys put on a show. You were down 3-2 in the best of 7. And I know you guys are best of 7 merchants on my stream. Went to 7 against Aloysius last semester. How'd you guys do it? How'd you put up 9 in game 6 and 7?
I think we just, throughout the series, it was a little bit messy. And I feel like we just took some time afterwards to talk about it. And we were just like, we need to just clean up on defense. And if we get our defense as a foundation, we'll be able to pour on the pressure. And I feel like we were able to do that very well against a very good GVSU team. So I'm very happy.
Well, you guys look solid, and it's not been a great start to the season for you guys. I know in CCS, you're 1-3 right now. And I want to know what kind of happened in non-conference play right there, because obviously you guys looked very solid tonight. You guys got a good win against Rutgers as well, I think in week 1. But overall, what's kind of happened against those better teams like the George Masons, James Madisons of Collegiate?
I just think what happens there is like we're playing like very good series against very good teams, and we're just missing those few key moments in the series that, like George Mason and Akron Gold, they take advantage of, and we haven't been taking advantage of them. I feel like as soon as we get down to those key moments and we're able to take advantage, I feel like we're gonna pull it back and do a lot better in series. I feel like we're just one step away. We're right there. We just need to capitalize on the key moments.
Hey, you proved it tonight. You got the Game 7 dub. You guys are undefeated on my Nightlight show matches. So you got that going for you. But the next series is James Madison versus Shawnee State. I don't know if you keep up with the collegiate space at all, especially at the top level, but I want to know if you've got a prediction for that best of 7.
I try my best to keep up. I don't know as much about Shawnee State, but
okay.
I do know a lot about JMU, considering we played them, and they're a very, very good team. So I know Shawnee State's going to have a big challenge, but if I had to make a prediction, I would say I think JMU is going to get it done. But, you know, hey, Shawnee can prove me wrong. I have no idea, man. It's 2 good teams, so you never know, bro. Anybody could win. But yeah,
all right.
that would be my prediction.
Fair enough. Calling out the JMU win. I like it. SCL brethren. We stick together. But, Kaizen, thanks for joining me. Congrats on the win.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, so that was Kaizen from FIU who got the dub in Game 7. But like I've been talking about, in 5 minutes' time, we got James Madison versus Shawnee State. Don't go too far. Enjoy the synthwave in the meantime. I'm going to play some ads, so I apologize for that. But I will be back in about 5 minutes. See you there.